You survive all week on 5 hours of sleep a night. Saturday finally rolls around, so you stay in bed until noon, expecting to wake up completely refreshed. Instead, you drag yourself out from under the covers feeling groggy, sluggish, and arguably worse than you did on Wednesday. In this video, we are looking at the science of catching up on rest. We will examine data showing how the right amount of weekend sleep can reduce your risk of heart disease by 20%. Explain why sleeping in too long affects your mental health, and walk through a precise weekend protocol to maximize your recovery. During a typical 5-day work week, millions of workers accumulate a neurological deficit known as sleep debt. Your body keeps a strict ledger of every hour of rest you miss. This bar chart illustrates how that deficit builds up. We see a progressive negative block expanding Monday through Friday, contrasted against a single massive weekend block, where we intuitively try to pay it all back in one lump sum. But treating your weekend like a physiological bank bailout often backfires. Biological systems generally do not accept massive lump sum payments without inflicting penalties on the rest of your body. To see how this plays out physically, we can look at the UK Biobank study. By tracking over 90,000 participants, it provides a major dataset on how weekend sleep habits impact long-term cardiovascular health. This line graph displays baseline heart disease risk. For individuals who average less than 7 hours of sleep on weekdays, getting sufficient catch-up sleep on the weekend correlates to a 20% drop in heart disease risk. Conditions like heart failure and atrial fibrillation become significantly less likely. But as we expand this graph to look at extreme short sleepers, those getting under 6 hours a night, the picture changes. If they fail to catch up on the weekend, there is a sharp spike in the risk of myocardial infarction, particularly for men under 65. What the data reveals is that extra weekend sleep can act as a biological shield against the acute damage of weekday deprivation. It functions as a cardiovascular safety net. However, relying on those 2 days to completely offset severe chronic sleep deprivation is an unsustainable strategy for your heart. The physical benefits of extra sleep are clear, but the psychological effects follow a different set of rules. A Japanese panel study tracking the mental well-being of middle-aged workers exposes exactly where the line is drawn. This bell curve visualizes the biological sweet spot. When workers extend their weekend sleep by exactly 1 to 2 hours, mental well-being and life satisfaction peak right here in the highlighted zone, with women experiencing particularly strong benefits. But watch what happens as the timeline pushes past the 3-hour mark. The curve drops into negative territory. Extending sleep by 3 or more hours neutralizes the psychological benefits. And for men who already get 6 hours during the week, it actively worsens their mental health. This rejection happens because of social jet lag, a biological mechanism where aggressively shifting your wake times confuses your body's internal clock. When you sleep until noon, you miss crucial morning sunlight and skip breakfast, pushing your entire schedule out of sync. You spend Sunday afternoon rushing to catch up on chores and social obligations, which can compound your psychological stress. By overshooting the 2-hour mark, you transform sleep from a healing mechanism into a circadian disruptor, making an agonizing Monday morning much more likely. Weekend catch-up sleep is a matter of mitigation versus resolution. It serves as an excellent buffer, but it cannot cancel out the cellular damage caused by an extreme sub-5-hour weekday schedule. It is time to translate this data into a concrete plan for your upcoming weekend. Rule 1 is to prioritize the weekday. Aim for a biological baseline of 6 to 7 hours a night to prevent your sleep debt from reaching unmanageable levels. Rule 2 is to cap the catch-up. Set your weekend alarm to allow a maximum of 1 to 2 extra hours in bed, ensuring you stay squarely in that restorative sweet spot. Research also highlights a final group with the lowest reported life satisfaction, those who sleep less on the weekend than they do during the week. This leads to Rule 3, never reduce your sleep on the weekend. And Rule 4, strive for wake time consistency to stabilize your internal clock. Sleep is a daily biological investment, not a bank loan you can pay off in a massive lump sum. Setting your alarm for just 1 extra hour this Saturday is a high-leverage move for your long-term health.